So tonight we are just going to have a catch up, an update up to this moment on what has been happening in the political space and other areas of Nigeria. Call it the last 24 to 48 hours. So I have come with that similar package, all loaded. It's going to start from somewhere, then like one after the other. Okay. So we shall start with this controversial controversial 2026 Electoral Act amendment, which Tinubu has signed to law. He signed it into law under 24 hours. People are still debating why the Akpabiole's gang in the House would actually add the proviso to this 2026 Electoral Act amendment. So why would you do that? That already just sent everybody back to 10 years, 15 years. Again, that's not progress. They didn't listen since they passed it. The eyes had it. So they took it to call yesterday to sign. And he and his office, which is the presidency, they did not use it's not mandatory. The expected 30 days max to review what the National Assembly passed, right? Before Kolu signed it straight, which means Kolu did not have any time to read what he was signing, but they took it to him anyway yesterday. Then Kolu started telling them that I was following this whole thing as well, as you were all doing and all that, right? So you've done well, because those who are pushing for the e-transmission of election results in Nigeria, right, they have their own sinister motives, because electronic transmission can have glitches. And with this manual plus this, it shall say some other like jargons in a way. So that's where we are going to start from this evening. The boring part to the other interesting part. So let's go on to that. Kolu.
It is time that we have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and the result is finalized by the people. In fact, for final results, we are not going to be talking to the computer, we are going to be talking to human beings who announce the final results. And when you look at the crux of various arguments, maybe Nigerians should question our broadband capability. How technically are we today? How technically will we be tomorrow to answer the call of gathering time or not? And as long as you appear personally as a manual voter in any polling booth, but ballot paper is given to you manually, you decide in a corner and fingerprint, thumbprint the party of your choice, you cast your vote without hindrance and any interference. Ballots are subsequently counted manually, sorted and counted manually. It's just the arithmetic accuracy that is entered into it from easy eating. It's still manual, essentially. And the transmission of that manual result is what we're looking at. And we need to avoid glitches, glad you did, interference, unnecessary hacking in this age of, computer impositiveness. Nigeria will be there. We will flourish. We will continue to nurture this democracy for the fulfillment of our dream for prosperity and stability of our country.
The boys have delivered, so there should be no further delay. So the opposition right now would either have to stage 10 million man march before this can be reversed, or they should just go and start planning based on these new rules, these rules set by Kalu and his gang. Either way, to them, everybody will have to play by the rules they have set, not that one you are demanding for. After that meeting, right?
Well, a lot of provisions in the amended act would definitely make Nigerians very happy. We did a very thorough job, very painstaking. We took cognizance of the peculiarities of the country. We did not allow too much outside interference, and we're very patriotic in our submissions. And at the end, we believe strongly that what the president has just assented into Act of Parliament will make for a better election in the future, and will also lead to prosperity, and will also lead to transparency of the electoral process. At the end, Nigerians will benefit a lot from future elections. Every vote will now count.
So how have you been able to reconcile the concerns of Nigerians that they raised before the...
Well, I think all Nigerians wanted was that in the IREF portal, which is a kind of viewing center of the outcome of most of the polling unit results, that they would like to see that transmitted electronically. We have included that in the amendment that has just been signed into Act of Parliament. But we also took cognizance of areas where there may not be any network, where there may not be communication capacities and availability. And we said, since the polling unit result comes in from EC8A, which is signed by the presiding officer, signed by the agents, and signed in the presence of security agents, copies are given to all. Then we can use that as a primary source of collation at that unit. And then, of course, we transmit it, even if there's no network at that time. Once you step out of there, maybe towards the ward center or the local government center, it will drop into the IREF, and people will still be able to view. The implication of that is that if what is eventually collated at the next center is different from what is in the IREF, Nigerians will be able to compare whether the election result had been tampered with. And for us, that had always been the problem in the country, that once election result leaves a polling unit, it will be tampered with or mutilated. That has been eliminated today. So we are satisfied that we have met the aspiration of Nigerians. That the issue of real time also comes in. Once you transmit, even if there's no network at that time, once you go to where there's network, it will still drop. So eventually everything will still be shown. So we are happy and satisfied that we have been able to interpret the intentions and the yearnings of majority of Nigerians, not those who are politically motivated, not few people who make noise. Noise is different from lawmaking. And I always say, no matter what we did in the last 2 years, we went to retreat in Lagos, we went to retreat in Ibadan, everywhere. Those things were just mere consultations. The final outcome of what was amended happens in the plenaries of both chambers. And we felt in the last 1 month that we have done a lot. And even the Senate, for instance, we sacrificed even the holidays. The Mr. Speaker had to call back members who were on a bit of a break from plenaries, from budget sessions, to come back and undertake this all-important national assignment. That's why I said we are very satisfied that going forward, we are going to have more transparent elections. This has never happened since 1960. We have never had electronic transmission of results in any of our laws. We never even recognized the IRF in the 2022 Act. All those things are now there. And at the end of the day, more powers are given to political parties that they should decide who their candidates are. And above all, participatory democracy, more inclusiveness. Members of different political parties are now allowed to do direct primaries. That means you can choose the person you want. Delegate selection, of course, one person can write the list and then just submit. But this time around, the members who are in the political party will stand up and vote for their candidates and the candidates of their choices. That some people don't understand that it is not even good that in an election you have 5 people contesting. One person scores out of 300,000 votes. One person scores 290,000. And then for one reason or the other, he is disqualified by the court. And then the person who scored 1,000, who is not popularly elected, will now be declared a winner. All those things are eliminated. We have now recommended that where such a case happens, then you should call for another election. And that also comes even with the governorship election, where somebody who scores the second highest vote may not meet the 2/3 of the spread of the requirements in local government and will be declared a winner. No, we don't want that kind of situation. We want something that will help Nigerians to truly. Well, a lot of provisions in the amended act.
Abiole. Now you heard him, okay? And I bet some of you probably just heard that and waved it with just a wave of hand, right? But let me give you an idea what this new law, just a reminder, what this their new law entails. You remember that one of the worries of some of you, especially, some of you, the obedient in the ADC, some of your own worries or the height of your worries is that they will dollarize their primaries. This new law is no longer bill, it's law. Their new law they want to use now says there is no longer delegates. There's no delegates anymore. Direct primaries. Meaning if you are a card-carrying member of that party, so from all the 36 states in Nigeria and Abuja, they will have to conduct in your own local vicinity that you are doing election. People will stand in and say, this one is standing for Atiku, this one is standing for Obi, this one is standing for Amici, this one is standing for this and that, right? So they will now collate it from all the wards to local government to states, and they can declare. So the thing there is that it simply means with the numbers that Obi parades, I think he will be able to give Atiku a run for his money. You get what I mean? Because this time around, while they are paying people, he won't pay a dime. You get what I mean? So that's what they have done in this law. There is no primaries. There is no consensus. Consensus is when these people will meet. They will say they are doing some important meetings. At that meeting, they've now concluded that Atiku is the one that they will go for. And if they disagree, let us go for primaries. They have removed that. So it simply means everybody will have to come and meet you directly. It is their new law now. However, when it comes to the electronic transmission of the results, that one itself, right, is kind of like a shady, dodgy. Because what the people who are advocating for e-transmission, electronic transmission of results, what they're advocating for is more or less like just the first one is they want that electronic transmission, mandatory electronic transmission to be included in the law, because in 2023 it was not part of your law, and that was what gave Tinubu the leverage. So people pushing that it must be mandatory, which means there's no alternative electronic transmission of results. And this is not coming from just people making impossible demand. INEC practicalized their own election materials, and they came back and said they have what it takes to to transmit election results electronically all over Nigeria. But politicians and their supporters continue to speak for INEC, saying no, they can't. there's no network, there's no this. So therefore, to avoid any form of constitutional crisis where some places will have no network, and therefore their result will not be able to be announced, because by law, it must be transmitted electronically. So to avoid that, they have to include manually by adding a proviso that says where there is no network, they can manually collect it. But take a look, listen to this. The election ballots will be casted, it will be counted, and then the results will be entered into Form EC8A or something. That is the election results form. So once they get the EC8A form and they put the results in, they will now use that machine, that Beavers machine. They will take the picture. Okay, there's a process on there, right? Take the picture, then upload it. So immediately they upload it, they don't have to do much, because immediately they upload it, the Beavers is registered to that unit. Therefore, immediately it's uploaded, it will show up that this result, paper result, they took the picture, okay, is from so unit. So they can then collate all of that. Everybody can now start writing the number. Go to next one. What is the score? Go to next one. They will collate and then declare the total. So my own, my own kind of like concern, can I use that? My own concern is that is not going to guarantee free and fair elections for those who have participated in elections in Nigeria. I'm not saying just those of you who have voted, I mean those who have participated in organizing elections, rigging elections as well, because that's what they do, right? You realize that there's so many things that happen before the result is written on that form. There are those who actually would have the form in this their election. They will have the form, they will have the papers, and they will be there using the same thing while the real voters are waiting at their polling units. A material will not arrive and the result will still be declared. They will tell you that a few fraction of issues here and there does not disqualify or invalidate the election, so it will still pass. I've seen that before. Electronic transmission of results. Anyway, it's pretty much like a combination of manual and electronic. That's what Akpabio put out. For somebody who had worked with the same INEC, the guy who said he's saying goodbye to Nigeria, Maiyegun, his own reaction.
The greatest option that we have is the judiciary that must stand tall and mighty in defense of democracy and the rule of law. The 2022 Electoral Act, there are profound provisions that we put in there, or even unknown to politics. If you record that in one of our program, I used to tell you people there are provisions I don't want to mention on the program.
Those not tell
now,
politicians. Let's not tell.
I say this because were it not for the judiciary, we would not be where we are today. This debate was because of judiciary. Transfer, transmit. Section 60, subsection 5, that said it must be done in accordance to the mode prescribed by INEC. Paragraph 38 of the regulation and guideline actually prescribe that mode. Let me say this here. How do we go forward? One of the things you must remember about the military, despite all the things that we fought military, it was the decision of the military that if election is, there was a decree that if election is bad, is rigged, it should not be the court that should confer victory on anybody, that should go back to the people to be sure of the will of the people. But what we have found in our country, historically, the judiciary had never been on the side of the electorate in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As we saw what happened in June 12th, and everything that has happened so far, judiciary had never been. And I say this here. Democracy is a danger. When judiciary shows sign of weakness, collapse or irrelevance, the only reason why we fought the military, talking about importance of judiciary here, is because there was no parliament. The people have no say. Otherwise, there was an executive, there was judiciary. The only arm that was missing was parliament. And that was why we wanted democracy. How do you explain that a National Assembly that don't carry out public hearing across the geopolitical zone and the people spoke? Look at what has happened. The Falcon no longer listen to the Falconer. This is what Professor, one of your own, John Frisk, referred to as semiotic democracy. There's a gulf between what the